The bar near the harbor was alive with noise that night. Not the kind of wild chaos you got near college towns, but the loud, confident hum of men who had spent the week training harder than most people lived. Off-duty SEALs clustered around high tables, the smell of fried fish and sea wind drifting through the cracked windows. Boots thudded on wooden floors, glasses clinked, and someone in the back kept hitting the jukebox until it played the same rock song again. Near the far end of the room, alone beneath the soft glow of a flickering lamp, sat a man most people overlooked. His wheelchair was old but polished. His hair, silver, cut short, framed a face lined by years that had not been gentle. He nursed a quiet drink the way some men held on to memories, carefully, like they might spill if handled wrong. At 65 years old, he was hard to read at first glance. Too steady to be weak, too calm to be ordinary. The bartender, a stocky guy named Rowan with rolled-up sleeves and tired eyes, slid him another drink without asking. "Long shift, Mr. Keaton?" Rowan asked softly. The old man gave a faint shrug. "Long life," he murmured. Rowan nodded, not pushing. He had learned long ago that some stories walked into bars but never spoke unless they wanted to. Across the room, a group of young SEALs got louder. They had the swagger of men who had seen danger but not yet paid the full cost of it. One of them, a broad-shouldered petty officer with an undercut and sunburned cheeks, noticed the wheelchair first. He elbowed his buddy. "Look at that. Grandpa picked the wrong bar." Several of them laughed, not cruelly, just young and careless. Another SEAL, lean and sharp-eyed, lifted his drink toward the old man in mock salute. "Hey, sir," he called across the noise. "You lose a bet or your legs?" Rowan froze mid-wipe. The rest of the bar went just slightly quieter, the way storms start by stealing the wind. Mr. Keaton didn't look up at first. He just drew a slow breath and kept his eyes on the amber liquid in his glass. "Easy, fellas," Rowan warned. "Not the man to poke." The petty officer grinned wider. "Come on, we're just asking a question." Respectfully, but the tone was anything but. Mr. Keaton finally lifted his gaze. His eyes were steady, unreadable. "Son," he said quietly, "the last person who talked to me like that still has sand in his nightmares." A few SEALs at the nearby table stiffened. That wasn't a normal comeback. That was something else, something with weight on it. The petty officer leaned closer, curious instead of intimidated. "All right then, old-timer. You serve? A lifetime ago. Doing what? Trying to keep men like you alive." A chorus of low whistles followed, but the petty officer wasn't done. "Then tell me," he pressed. "What was your call sign?" The bartender muttered, "Kid, don't." But the question was already in the air. Mr. Keaton set his glass down with slow intention. No tension in his shoulders, no anger. Just a quiet acceptance that the moment had arrived whether he wanted it or not. "My call sign," he said, "was Ghost 1. The bar didn't go silent. It stopped breathing. Rowan's hand slipped on the glass he was holding. A younger SEAL at the next table whispered something under his breath, a name he thought only existed in training rumors. Ghost 1, a call sign spoken in old stories, never confirmed. The operative who walked out of a black operation decades ago when no one else did. A ghost not because he died, because no one could prove he lived. And somewhere deep within the building hum of the bar, the atmosphere shifted. Before the petty officer could respond, the narrator's tone settled in. "Before I tell you what happened next, subscribe the channel and let me know in the comments where are you watching from. It helps more than you know." The petty officer stared, confused. "Hold on. Ghost 1? That's a myth." Mr. Keaton looked back at him with a flat, calm expression. "Myths don't age, son." "I did." For a moment nobody spoke. The jukebox flickered. The wind slammed the door. And the SEAL who had mocked him earlier suddenly looked like a man who wanted to take back every word he had said. Because the one thing every SEAL feared wasn't an enemy. It was realizing they had just challenged a legend. But before anyone could ask another question, the bar door opened, and the man who stepped inside wore a uniform none of them expected, carrying news that would change everything they thought they knew about Ghost 1. The door swung shut behind the man who had just stepped inside. His uniform wasn't dress blues or anything ceremonial. It was a dark, weatherproof field jacket with a single silver oak leaf pin glinting beneath the bar's dim lights. Commander Briggs, a man the younger SEALs recognized instantly. Not because he was famous, but because he was the type of leader who made sure nobody under him ever doubted who was in charge. His gaze scanned the bar once, sharp and searching, until his eyes landed on Mr. Keaton. Rowan exhaled under his breath. Oh boy, this can't be good. The petty officer who had done the mocking earlier straightened reflexively. The rest of his team followed suit, though they weren't sure why. Something about Briggs's presence had carved the noise right out of the room. Briggs took a slow step forward. "Keaton," he said, voice low and gravel calm. "I figured the rumors weren't true." Mr. Keaton didn't turn. He simply replied, "Rumors never die, Commander. People just pretend they don't hear them." Briggs closed the distance. The younger SEALs exchanged looks. Why was a commander speaking to an old disabled vet like he owed him an apology? The petty officer leaned toward one of his teammates. "Who exactly is this guy?" His teammate swallowed. "If that call sign is real, he's someone we were taught not to ask questions about." Briggs rested a hand on the bar. "I need a moment, Keaton." Mr. Keaton took a slow sip before answering. "Then speak." The commander hesitated. An odd sight for a man who commanded elite units. "You showing up here?" It stirred things up. People at the top are asking questions. Keaton's voice stayed even. "Let them ask. They already have," Briggs said. "And they want answers from you." Rowan frowned. "Why? He's just here to drink." Briggs shook his head. "There's no just when it comes to this man." The petty officer bristled. "Sir, with respect, this is an old guy in a wheelchair and—" Briggs rounded on him so fast the kid shut up mid-sentence. "Lieutenant Keaton," Briggs said, pointing at the man they'd mocked, "was the lead on a covert unit you children have only heard about in whispers. A unit that operated where our maps stopped and our rules didn't apply." The petty officer felt his stomach drop. "Ghost One was an actual operative?" "One of the best," Briggs replied. "And one of the last." Mr. Keaton finally turned his head slightly. "You didn't come here to flatter me." "No," Briggs admitted. "I came because your appearance has already been flagged by people who want things buried." The bar seemed to shrink around them. The jukebox flickered off. Outside, wind pushed hard against the windows. Rowan leaned closer. "Commander, what does that mean?" Briggs looked at him, then at the younger SEALs, then finally back at Keaton. "It means they don't want him found," one of the younger men whispered. "Found by who?" Briggs didn't answer immediately. He took a seat across from Keaton. The first time anyone had dared sit that close to him since the name Ghost One was spoken aloud. "You disappeared," Briggs said quietly. 20-some years without a trace. No communication, no reports. And now, suddenly you walk into a public bar near the naval station. Keaton sighed. "Didn't plan it. I just stopped caring where I'm supposed to be invisible." Briggs lowered his voice. "That's exactly why they're moving." The petty officer rubbed his neck. "Sir, who is they?" Briggs clenched his jaw. "People who consider men like Keaton loose ends." A cold ripple spread across the room. "Loose ends. The kind you didn't tie, you cut." Keaton set his empty glass down. "I didn't come here to start anything, and yet it started," Briggs replied. He reached into his jacket and placed a small sealed envelope on the bar. "This was sent to my office an hour ago, addressed to you. No return, no instructions." Rowan stared at it. The younger SEALs leaned forward instinctively. Keaton didn't touch it. Briggs continued. "This isn't a message, Keaton, it's a warning." The envelope looked ordinary, but the room treated it like it might explode. Keaton's fingers hovered over it but never made contact. After a long silence, Briggs spoke again. "You need to leave this place, now, before someone else shows up." Keaton looked at him calmly. "Someone already did." Briggs stiffened. "Who?" Keaton nodded toward the window, just enough for Briggs to turn his head. A black sedan had pulled up outside. No headlights, no movement, just waiting. Briggs muttered a curse. The petty officer whispered, "Sir, what's happening?" Rowan backed away from the bar. "Everyone should probably start worrying." Keaton's eyes didn't move from the sedan. "They aren't here for all of you." "Then who?" the youngest SEAL asked. Keaton finally answered, voice quiet as a blade sliding free. "For Ghost One." And before the commander could react, the sedan door opened, revealing a figure Keaton hadn't seen in over 2 decades. Someone he believed died long before he ever rolled into this bar. The sedan door creaked open. its hinges swallowed by the roar of the wind outside. A figure stepped out, slowly, deliberately, shielding themselves beneath the glow of a street lamp flickering with the storm. The younger SEALs pressed closer to the window, their breath clouding the glass. Commander Briggs squinted. "No, that's not possible." Mr. Keaton didn't speak. His jaw was tight, his eyes locked onto the silhouette approaching the bar entrance. The figure moved with a limp, but with a posture trained by years of discipline. Rain traced their uniform running down the front of their jacket in thin, trembling silver lines. Rowan whispered, "Mr. Keaton, you know them?" He didn't answer. Couldn't, maybe. The younger SEALs backed away as the door swung inward. The person who stepped inside was a woman, early 50s, hair cropped short, her once powerful frame now marked by old scars. But her eyes, sharp, unwavering, those were unmistakable. Lieutenant Mara Lorne. Briggs's face drained of color. "She died," he said, stunned. "We got reports. There was a memorial, a folded flag." Lorne wiped rain from her brow. "Reports lie, flags fold." Her voice was low, steady, and carved directly out of the past. A past none of the young men in the bar could even begin to understand. Keaton exhaled slowly. "Mara, Keaton," she replied, stepping closer. "You look older." 65 tends to do that, he said quietly. "You look alive." She gave him the smallest smile, one that didn't quite reach her eyes. Not always by choice. The younger SEALs looked between them like they were witnessing ghosts speaking in code. Briggs finally broke the silence. "Lieutenant Lorne, how are you here?" She turned her head, expression unreadable. "Same way Keaton is. By not being where they expected." Her gaze met his again, softer this time. "You should have stayed gone, Keaton." He tapped the side of his wheelchair. "Hard to stay gone when life keeps pulling you back." She let out a slow breath. "You showing up tonight triggered the same alerts mine did 15 years ago. They've been trying to close the ghost program for decades, but it keeps leaking through the cracks." Briggs stepped forward. "What do they want?" Lorne hesitated. "They want to erase the past," she said, "completely. No loose ends, no legends, no call signs that can resurface." Keaton stared at her. "Then why show yourself now?" "Because you're not the only one they tracked tonight," she replied. "You were the bait, old friend." The younger SEALs tensed as if invisible crosshairs had suddenly appeared on all of them. The petty officer whispered, "Sir, are we in danger?" Briggs didn't answer. Lorne continued, "They know you're here. They know I'm here, and they're not sending cars this time." Keaton raised an eyebrow. "Then what are they sending?" As if on cue, a distant hum trembled through the air. The walls vibrated. The lights flickered once, then steadied. The sound grew louder, mechanical and precise, like the slow beating of metal wings cutting through rain. Rowan froze mid-step. "That's not traffic." Lorne nodded grimly. "No, it's surveillance." The youngest SEAL pressed to the window again, eyes widening. "There's something overhead." Keaton didn't look. He'd heard that sound before. Long ago, on nights when his heart raced for reasons he never talked about. Nights when only shadows knew his name. Lorne placed a hand on the bar, steadying herself. "Once they confirm visual ID, they'll send a retrieval unit." Briggs turned sharply. "A retrieval unit? For an old vet in a wheelchair?" Lorne held his stare. "For Ghost One? They'll send more than that." The petty officer ran a hand over his face. "Why him? He's retired." "No," she said softly. "He's unresolved." The hum outside turned into a low, sweeping tone. Red light flickered through the windows, slicing across the floorboards. The younger SEALs ducked reflexively. Briggs cursed. "We need to move." But Keaton didn't move. He stayed perfectly still, eyes resting on Lorne with a mixture of sorrow and disbelief. "Mara," he said quietly, "tell me why they want me now." She swallowed hard. "Because the last file tied to Ghost One was unlocked tonight. Someone accessed it, thinking it was archived." Keaton frowned. "Who?" Lorne hesitated again. Rain pounded the windows, the ceiling rattled. "The file wasn't accessed by them," she finally whispered. Briggs leaned in. "Then by who?" Lorne looked directly at Keaton. "By someone searching for you." Keaton stared at her. "Who would do that?" Her reply was soft, barely audible over the rising storm. "Your daughter." The room stopped breathing. Even the storm paused, as if stunned. Keaton blinked, confusion and shock colliding in his eyes. "I don't have a daughter." "You do." Lorne said, stepping closer. "And she's the reason they're coming. She found out who you were. She found out what they did. And now she's looking for you, so they need to get to you first." The youngest SEAL whispered, "This just got way above our pay grade." And then the lights cut out. As darkness swallowed the bar, a single spotlight from above pierced the ceiling, pinpointed directly on Ghost One's chair. The beam from above cut through the darkness like a blade. Dust drifted through the single cone of white light, settling over Mr. Keaton's wheelchair as if the world had shrunk down to that one circle on the creaking wooden floor. The younger SEALs scrambled into defensive stances, instinct pulling them into motion even though none of them truly understood what they were up against. Commander Briggs shoved a table aside, scanning the ceiling. "Drone spotlight," he muttered. "High altitude. Too high for small arms." Rowan ducked behind the counter. "They're lighting him up like a target." Lieutenant Mara Lorne grabbed Keaton's chair. "We need to move. Now." But Keaton didn't budge. His jaw was clenched, his mind racing somewhere far deeper than panic. The word daughter kept echoing behind his ribs, rattling against memories he didn't even know were missing. "I don't have a daughter," he said again softly, as if repeating it would make it true. "You do," Lorne insisted. "They kept it from you. Said it would compromise operational integrity. They hid everything from both of you." The spotlight tightened. Briggs swore under his breath. "They're marking the target for a ground team." A rumble sounded outside, engines, several of them, stopping in sync, doors slamming, boots hitting pavement. The petty officer whispered, "Sir, they're surrounding us." Lorne's eyes hardened. "They won't risk crossfire with civilians, but they'll breach once they confirm it's him." Keaton exhaled slowly. "They always finish what they start." He turned his head toward her. "Tell me about her. Tell me who she is." Lorne hesitated, torn, but something in his eyes, some old trust forged long before everything went wrong, made her speak. "Her name is Rhea," she said. "Born months after you disappeared from the grid. She was relocated with her mother into protective custody when Command decided the Ghost program was too dangerous to leave loose. They kept her identity sealed, scrubbed, never even told her who her father was." Keaton's chest tightened. The ceiling rumbled again. "And now?" he asked. "She found a classified memo," Lorne replied. "Something half erased. A single line. Child of Operative Ghost One relocated." She followed that thread. Digital footprints. Old correspondences. Eventually, she uncovered your call sign. "She's looking for him," Briggs said quietly. "And they don't want her finding him first," Lorne added. "If she exposes the truth behind the Ghost unit, what they did, what they buried, it'll burn careers all the way to the top." Keaton leaned back in his chair, overwhelmed. "I never knew." "They didn't let you," Lorne said. "They knew you'd come back." The spotlight widened again. Boots stomped outside the door. A sharp metallic click echoed, a breaching latch being set. Briggs drew a breath. "They're coming in." The younger SEALs formed a loose perimeter, unsure if they were protecting the old man or themselves. Rowan peeked over the bar, wide-eyed. "Is there a back exit we can use?" "There is," Keaton said, voice steady. "But it won't matter. If they want me, they'll find me." Briggs knelt beside him. "Then what do you want to do?" Keaton looked at the commander, then at Lorne, then at the SEALs staring at him like he was a mixture of myth and man. His voice was quiet but firm. "I want to know why all this is happening now." Lorne nodded. "Then you'll have to hear the part I didn't want to say." More boots gathered outside. Someone shouted orders. The breaching latch snapped into place. "Rhea didn't just learn your name," Lorne continued. "She uncovered something bigger, something hidden inside the Ghost program files. Something none of us were meant to see." Keaton's eyes narrowed. "What?" Lorne swallowed. "Proof that the op wasn't just a mission gone wrong. It was engineered, sabotaged, designed to wipe out your entire unit." Briggs stiffened. "You're saying the Ghost team was set up?" Lorne nodded. "Except for him. Keaton wasn't supposed to survive. His survival compromised the narrative. And now that Rhea found the evidence, they need him silenced before she reaches him with it." The room seemed to tilt. Keaton's voice was barely more than a whisper. "They tried to kill us. On purpose." Before Lorne could answer, the front door vibrated. Whump! A controlled charge placed on the lock. Rowan shouted, "They're breaching!" The younger SEALs raised their weapons out of instinct, though none dared fire. Briggs stepped forward. We're out of time. We need to get him out the back. Keaton finally nodded. All right, move. Lorne grabbed the handles of his wheelchair. Briggs motioned for the SEALs to hold a defensive line. Whump. The second charge. Wood cracked. The hinges strained. Lorne whispered, Keaton, if you want to stay alive long enough to meet her, you need to trust me. Keaton exhaled slowly. He didn't trust much anymore, but he trusted Mara Lorne. Go, he said. They pushed toward the back hallway just as the final breaching charge detonated. As smoke billowed through the bar and armed silhouettes poured through the shattered doorway, a voice echoed from outside, one that froze Keaton in his tracks, a voice claiming to speak for his daughter. The blast shook the bar so hard dust rained from the rafters. Splinters flew. Smoke swallowed the doorway. The younger SEALs braced themselves, shielding their faces from the debris as dark silhouettes stormed inside, silent, disciplined, faceless behind tactical masks. But none of that stopped Keaton. What stopped him was the voice cutting through the chaos. Stand down. He's coming with us. Rhea wants him alive. Lorne froze. Briggs cursed. Rowan ducked behind the counter again. The armed figures paused mid-step, holding formation as the source of the voice emerged from the smoke. A man in a black raincoat, no mask, no insignia, just calm authority that didn't need introduction. Agent Corville. Keaton recognized the posture even before the man stepped fully into the light. Corville. Keaton muttered, I should have known. Lorne's grip on the wheelchair tightened. You worked with him? Keaton nodded once, jaw tightened. Years ago. Before Ghost went dark, Briggs stepped forward. Agent, this is a civilian establishment. You don't have jurisdiction. Corville cut him off. Commander, you don't have rank here. This is above Naval Command, above any chain you're used to. Several of the masked operatives raised weapons. Not aimed, but ready. Corville pointed at Keaton. Our orders are clear. He leaves with us. His daughter is en route to a secure facility. She believes she's meeting him there. Keaton's breath caught. She asked for me? Corville's expression didn't change. She asked for answers, but she won't get them until we control the narrative. Lorne pushed Keaton's chair slightly back. Not running. Protecting. You don't want him meeting her, you want to intercept whatever she found. Corville gave a thin smile. I know you've been out a long time, Lieutenant Lorne, so let me update you. The world moves on. Programs shut down. Secrets stay buried because people like me keep them that way. Keaton stared hard at him. If Rhea wants the truth, let her hear it from me. That, Corville said, is exactly what we cannot allow. One of the younger SEALs had heard enough. He stepped forward, weapon slightly raised. Sir, with respect, this man is a decorated veteran. Corville didn't even look at him. Stand down, sailor. You have no idea what you're stepping into. Briggs quickly moved between the younger SEAL and Corville. My men are staying out of this. Corville nodded once. Good. Then they won't be collateral. Keaton's voice broke the tension. Corville, if she's my daughter, she deserves to see my face. She deserves the truth. Corville's eyes hardened. She'll get a version of it, not yours. Lorne's breath hitched. You're going to reframe the entire operation. Blame it on a rogue cell. Corville didn't deny it. She found evidence of sabotage, Lorne continued. Did she see enough to expose you? Corville exhaled slowly. She saw enough to ask questions. And your friend here, he motioned to Keaton, is the only person alive who can answer them correctly, or incorrectly. The implication burned through the room. Keaton was never meant to survive the mission, nor the aftermath, and now his daughter's search had reopened wounds they wanted closed forever. Corville stepped closer. Keaton, you can come willingly, or we can force the issue, but the outcome is the same. Lorne moved in front of the wheelchair. No, not this time. Several operatives raised their rifles instantly. Step aside, Lieutenant, Corville warned. Briggs raised his hands. Let's not escalate. Too late. Keaton leaned forward in his chair, voice low but steady. Corville, if I come with you, what happens to her? Corville hesitated. Just long enough to reveal the truth. She'll be managed. Keaton's expression changed. Calm vanished. Something older, deeper, awakened behind his eyes. An echo of the man who once walked into the darkest corners of the world with a call sign whispered like a warning. You touch her, Keaton said. And you'll wish the ghost team really had died that night. Corval chuckled softly. You're not Ghost One anymore, Keaton. No, he replied. But I remember how he thought. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A distant rumble shook the walls. Every masked operative turned their head at once. What was that? One asked. Briggs's radio crackled without warning. Static, then a distorted voice. Commander, units approaching from the east. Unknown affiliation. Corval stepped back sharply. No one else was supposed to be here. Who is that? Lorne looked at Keaton. Keaton didn't blink. My guess? He said. Someone who found me before you did. Corval paled. Your daughter? No, Keaton replied quietly. Someone she sent. Outside, a horn blared once. Long, deliberate, unmistakably tactical. The masked operatives hurried to reposition. Briggs whispered, Who would she send? Keaton slowly closed his eyes, remembering a name he hadn't spoken in decades. She found someone who owed the ghost team a favor, he said softly. Lorne's eyes widened. Not him. Not after all these years. Keaton nodded. He never missed a debt. And as the lights flickered again, the front of the bar lit up with headlights. 2 armored vehicles rolling through the storm, carrying a man Keaton once saved in a desert no one ever admitted existed. A man who was supposed to be dead. The armored vehicles screeched to a stop outside the bar, engines idling low and heavy. Rain hammered on their roofs like impatient fists. Every masked operative in Agent Corval's unit shifted position, weapons half raised, waiting for an order that didn't come. Corval stepped toward the blown-out doorway, squinting through the storm. This isn't possible, he muttered. He died. I read the report myself. Keaton didn't blink. You read the report they wrote. Lieutenant Mara Lorne tightened her grip on the wheelchair handles. If it's really him, then everything they buried is about to surface. A door on the lead armored truck swung open. A man stepped out, tall, built like a wall of stone, salt and iron beard soaked by the downpour. His left arm bore the faded tattoo of an old unit symbol, one that Keaton hadn't seen since the desert days when the Ghost program was still breathing. Darius Holt, a name spoken only in shadows. A man whose death had been reported, filed, stamped, and forgotten, until now. Holt approached the bar slowly, rain dripping off the brim of his hood. The masked operatives formed a semicircle, rifles trained on him. He didn't flinch, didn't even slow down. Corval raised a hand. Holt, you are interfering with a federal retrieval operation. Stand down. Holt kept walking. I'm only here for one man, he said, voice echoing like gravel rolled across steel. And it's not you. The tension snapped taut. Corval's operatives shifted uneasily. Even Commander Briggs and his SEALs felt it. The presence of someone who'd lived long enough in the dark to become part of it. Holt stepped fully into the ruined bar, water pooling beneath his boots. His eyes locked onto Keaton. You disappeared, Keaton whispered. Holt shook his head. No, I was erased. Same as you. Lorne swallowed hard. Why now, Holt? Why come back? For him, Holt said, nodding toward Keaton. And for the girl. Keaton's chest tightened. You know Rhea? Holt leaned against a broken table. She found me 3 weeks ago, tracked me through old contacts, brought files, questions, fear, and that same stubborn spark her father has. Keaton lowered his gaze. I didn't even know she existed. She knows, Holt replied gently, and she's not angry you were gone. She's angry they took the choice away from both of you. Corval stepped forward, anger finally cracking through his calm facade. Enough. Holt, you don't get to rewrite the narrative. Ghost One is coming with us. Holt smirked. Ghost One goes where he decides. Corval nodded once. It was the signal. 5 operatives moved in fast, sweeping the bar with silent efficiency. Briggs's SEALs reflexively tensed, but none of them fired. They were outnumbered, outgunned, outauthorized. But Holt was something else. Before the operatives could even reach Keaton's chair, Holt launched forward with surprising precision. He disarmed the first masked man in a heartbeat, swung the captured weapon into the second's chest, and used the third as a shield before tossing him aside like scrap metal. Chaos erupted. Briggs yelled for his men to stay down. Rowan dove behind the bar again, cursing the entire U.S. government. Lorne maneuvered Keaton out of the center of the fight. Corval barked into his comm. Pull back! Pull! He never finished. Holt grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the wall. "You don't get to bury us twice." Corval coughed, gasping. "You think you can protect him? You think you can protect the girl? We control the narrative." Keaton wheeled forward slowly. "Not anymore." For the first time, Corval looked genuinely afraid. Keaton continued, voice steady, quiet, unshakably resolute. "If Rhea found Holt, she'll find me. And she'll hear the truth from someone who lived it, not someone who wrote it." Corval spat blood. "We can still contain this." Keaton shook his head. "No, you can't." Holt released him, letting him collapse into a chair. The masked operatives, wounded and disarmed, stayed down. Briggs's SEALs stepped aside, unwilling to raise another weapon. The storm outside began to soften. Lorne knelt beside Keaton. "What now?" Keaton took a long, slow breath. "Now I stop running from a past I didn't choose. Now I meet my daughter, and I tell her everything." Briggs approached, offering a respectful nod. "Sir, whatever you need, my team stands ready." Keaton smiled faintly. "Thank you, Commander, but this part I have to do on my own." Holt placed a hand on Keaton's shoulder. "Rhea's waiting at a safe house. I'll take you to her." Keaton's eyes glistened. In all his 65 years, through missions that never made a report and wars fought in the dark, nothing had ever shaken him like this moment. "Let's go," he whispered. Together with Lorne, Holt, Briggs, and the remaining SEALs watching in solemn silence, Keaton rolled out of the broken bar into the quiet, fading rain. He wasn't Ghost One now. He was a father, a man finally allowed to choose his next step. As the storm eased and the first hint of dawn touched the horizon, Keaton felt something he hadn't known in decades. Peace, hope, and the promise of a truth long overdue. And if you've been listening this far, subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments what time it is where you're watching from. It helps more than you know.